channel. My name is Gabi, and today we have the new Hyundai Tucson Ultimate. Now, there is two different powertrain options you can get on the Ultimate trim level. You can get either the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid. Now, today we have the PHEV, which is a $5,500 add-on from the regular hybrid below it. That brings the MSRP to $53,299 Canadian, and I just want to give a quick disclaimer at the beginning of this video. This is a 2025 model. 2026s are now available. A lot of people seem to believe that the 2026 model is redesigned or refreshed. They're absolutely the same. They're a carryover model year here in Canada. Now, you are correct that in 2026 we will get a new Tucson, but that will be a 2027 model. So 2026s and 2025s are the absolute same. Now that that's out of the way, we're going to do a full walkthrough of everything we get, both exterior, interior, and powertrain wise. This is also a live stream video, so if you are watching in real time, you can use the live chat box to ask us questions as we're recording. Now, without further ado, Adam's going to grab the camera and we are going to take a look at the front end. On the Ultimate trim level, you'll get some nice touches for the exterior that are exclusive to its design in this trim. Now, some things will also remain the same, one of which will be our headlamp design in our daytime running lights too. So we have that dark chrome finish that we see on the Trend package, and when the vehicle is shut off, these DRLs completely become invisible. They blend in perfectly with the rest of the grille design. It's almost a mirror-like style, and I truly do love that about the Tucson. However, for the main headlamps themselves, when you move over to the Ultimate, they'll turn into a projector-style beam rather than the multi-reflection style we get on the other models. This essentially means the light beam is in a more laser-focused standpoint. So there's less overspray, which with LED lights, I don't know if you've ever been on the opposing end, they're pretty dang bright and they can hurt you. This will just focus it more on the road and less in the eyes of other drivers. You do also have intelligent high beam assist, so if you do frequently use your high beams, this vehicle will essentially shut them off when it senses another vehicle approaching or enough sufficient light when you do have the auto function on. Very handy, makes you a little bit of a better person, at least while you're driving. For our color today, we have ash black, which is a beautiful, beautiful dark black paint. It is a $250 paint charge here for Hyundai Canada, with the white option being our complimentary paint. For more styling cues, you'll notice we have a couple gunmetal satin finishes along your front bumper. They expand all the way across the front end, of course, giving a dark meets light contrast. I think it looks fantastic on this vehicle. A few things I want to point out, smaller details, also safety packed. We have ultrasonic parking sensors, both in the front, the rear, and the side of the vehicle. And then exclusive to the Ultimate trim level, we'll also have a forward-facing camera. Now, this is one of the many exterior cameras that will show you a full 360-degree or surround view monitor, as Hyundai calls it. So when you are parking your vehicle in a tight garage or anywhere really, you get a full high-def picture of what's happening around you that moves with you as you're steering. There's also guidelines to showcase exactly where your front and your rear wheels will end up while you're parking. Next, I think we should talk powertrain, and the PHEV is one of my favorite systems to talk about because it's the best of both worlds. What really makes a PHEV special is, number one, it is a hybrid vehicle, so you will save on gas compared to a regular ICE version of the Hyundai Tucson, but you also have electric range too. So under the hood, we'll see a few things. Number one, a 1.6-liter turbocharged inline-4. So a gasoline engine. Now this engine itself produces about 178 horsepower if I'm not mistaken, and I think the torque number is 195. I might have to brush up on that, but what I do know is the combined horsepower and torque, and that is the power of both this gas engine, but also the electric motor that the Tucson plug-in hybrid has. When those two forces work together, we get 268 horsepower with 271 pound-feet of torque. Now, to put that into perspective versus the regular gas version, that's rated at 178 horsepower with 187 horsepower with 178 pound-feet of torque. That's a pretty big horsepower and torque difference, and this vehicle is going to be a heck of a lot more efficient too. It's rated at 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers, and that is, of course, combined, so gas and electric. Very nice. The regular electric rating is about 2.3 liters equivalent too. So if you are doing a majority of your driving within that 51-kilometer range of all electric energy, you're saving a lot on gas. My mom is a plug-in hybrid driver and her commute is about 30-something kilometers each way. So she plugs in at home, drives to work on full EV, plugs in at work, drives home full EV, and gets gas usually about twice a month, being road trips on the weekend, that kind of thing. She used to get gas twice a week in her previous vehicle. So that's where you have it, the best of both worlds. And at the end of the day, if you do run out of electric range, you're not stranded because this vehicle still has a fuel tank and it still has a gas engine. You are not going to have to look for the nearest charging station. As long as there's gas stations wherever you're going, you'll be okay. Now let's talk wheels. This wheel design is exclusive to the Ultimate. It's shared on both the hybrid and plug-in hybrid powertrains. It's a 19-inch alloy, so big wheel. We got a Michelin all-season tire and then ventilated disc brakes up at the front. Brakes on the front are of course going to be larger, and this is an all-wheel drive vehicle with a front-wheel drive bias. What that means is if it's a regular day, sunny, no clouds in the sky, and the gravel or the road is dry, you're going to be primarily front-wheel drive for fuel efficiency. However, if the vehicle senses a little bit of slippage, maybe some uneven surface, it'll automatically redistribute power to the rear to give you the traction that you're looking for. There is also 3 terrain modes you can manually select as a driver: snow, mud, and sand, each of which will adjust your torque distribution to a preset amount, so 50-50 for mud and sand, and then an 80-20 split that can go down to 50-50 when you are traveling at lower speeds for snow mode. So the vehicle is as automatically smart as you'd like, or you can manually change things to make it more what you're expecting as a driver. There's also select drive modes like Sport and Eco, which you can change things like throttle response, steering response, and your general preference. Pretty handy. Now for our wheel arches, we have a little bit of black plastic cladding. This may not look as stylish as a body color arch, but I will say as far as durability goes, this is often where rocks and road debris gets kicked up. At least it won't get kicked up on your paint. At least not for this far. There we go. For our mirrors, we have a satin chrome extension for your arm, and then a body color top half with an LED turn signal indicator and a blind view monitor. The blind view monitor is essentially a camera mounted on both of your side view mirrors, and every time you go to indicate a lane change or a turn, it'll show you exactly what's happening in your blind spot. It's fantastic for parallel parking, but of course also merging on the highway, making a right in a busy city. You can see exactly what's happening for pedestrians, curbs, other cars. Very handy. The windshield on this vehicle is acoustic and laminated. So that essentially means there's an extra layer within the glass to reduce noise, like wind noise, road noise, and give you an overall quieter cabin. In the very center, you'll also notice that we have a small camera. Now that camera is used for the advanced safety functions on this vehicle. And hang on tight, you guys. This is going to be a pretty long list. I'll summarize it a little bit too, so I'm not leaving you with words that don't mean anything. We have forward collision avoidance assist on this vehicle. It's an advanced version. So if the vehicle senses a risk of a crash between your car and another vehicle, pedestrian, or cyclist, it'll warn you with an audible alert and then apply brake force to avoid a collision. Because this is also an advanced function, we do have the option for the car to warn and brake for you in junctions, oncoming vehicles, you name it. There are so many circumstances where this vehicle can sense a risk and minimize it, at least try to. There's also lane following and lane keeping assistance, which will use that camera in the windscreen to watch the lanes, make sure you don't leave them, and make minor steering adjustments to keep you centered in them at all times. Does that work well on a dirt road? Absolutely not, but it's great in the city and it's great on the highway. We also have Smart Cruise Control Level 2, which uses the radar plate positioned just towards the passenger side of the front end to measure the distance between your car and the vehicle ahead of you. Now, if you hit stop and go traffic, your vehicle will slow down and come to a full halt, and then right back up to speed again. You as a driver can also cycle between 4 different preset following distances, so that way you're always at a comfortable measure, at least in your opinion, from your driving standpoint. Another thing we get only on this trim level is HDA, or Highway Driving Assist. Because this trim level is your introductory trim to having in-house navigation, it advances off the regular Smart Cruise Control and also incorporates things like knowledge of speed limit changes, if there's any major bends in the road, and takes care of it in a bit more intelligent manner. Pretty nice. All right, let's go back towards the side of the vehicle. We'll talk about the profile, the size, and the ground clearance. Now this vehicle has about 8.5 inches of ground clearance. All-wheel drive is standard on the Tucson and of course incorporated to the hybrid and PHEV as well. Your door handles are where you'll find our proximity entry. Now in the past, this was often used by a button to either click to lock or unlock your vehicle. It's now gesture controlled. So once you reach for the handle, as long as the key is on you, it'll unlock. And then once you're done, you can press on the handle to lock it again. So no more button, but still same function. You also have digital key entry, so you can unlock, start, and drive your vehicle from your phone when paired, and also share and revoke access to. Your roof rails are gloss black, and they're a flesh style with some nice subtle detailing of satin chrome along our upper belt line. The pillars are all finished in gloss black, and then the main belt line of the vehicle is just a regular black. Just want to make sure that's not the protective bumper from shipping. Can you imagine? Guys, it's black. We peel it. It's not. It is black. The lower portion of the vehicle, what some people would call the side skirt, is a black plastic cladding. Again, great for durability. Less paint spots that you'll have to worry about chips from debris. Then towards the rear is where we'll find our LED tail lamps, our high-mounted stop lamp, and our very large rear glass. Now, I always like pointing out the rear glass on the Tucson because it actually houses the Hyundai emblem. It's no longer separated. I think that's just a fun thing to highlight. It's of course going to be heated too, so snow and ice will melt right off. And then your wiper is hidden just underneath the spoiler. The tail lamps on this vehicle, I think, give a very sporty feel to them. There's a lot of dark or gloss black around the housing too, almost giving it that almost tinted-like effect, but without, of course, actually sacrificing visibility. And then because this is the Ultimate, of course, you can expect some great convenience functions like a smart power lift gate. You can adjust the height to your liking as well as incorporate the proximity function. So as long as you walk up to the vehicle, it'll automatically open once it senses your key fob. We usually turn that off at the dealership because we walk by cars with the keys quite often and it gets annoying, but it could be very helpful for you in your everyday life. For our rear cargo area, we have 902 liters of cargo space. That is, of course, behind the rear seats. That is slightly less than what we'll get in the hybrid because, of course, we have a larger battery capacity in this vehicle, a little bit less floorboard. You'll notice lots of styrofoam here. There is a small section that houses your tire mobility kit. This is essentially here in place of a regular spare tire. And the way it works is if you get a puncture and you're starting to lose air in your tire, this gives you, of course, the compressor to inflate, but also a sealant that goes in same time as the air and plugs that hole so you can have a stable PSI until you can properly repair or replace your tire. So it's not a full spare tire, it's not a donut that you can put on. That also means if your tire blows up, you can't do anything. But if it's just a nail, it's helpful. And it's way quicker and easier than changing a spare. Along the left side, you'll notice we have an LED cargo interior light. There we go. And then a 12-volt inverter too for any smaller devices you might need to plug in, like your air inflator. Along the side, we have levers to knock down our rear seats. They go completely flat. That one just got caught on the seat ahead of it. So horrible demonstration on my part. Please don't dislike this video. I will cry. Let's close this up. A few more things I'd like to talk about spec-wise is the towing capacity. So this vehicle is rated for 2,000 pounds of towing capacity, same as the regular hybrid. And I'm not sure if I actually mentioned the transmission on this car. It is a 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters. Now the paddle shifters do two things, and the previous gen of the Tucson did not do this, even in the hybrid. One, if you're in sport mode, it can adjust the gear that you're in. So if you'd like to upshift to third or downshift to second, you can do that. If you're in eco mode though, it changes the level of regen. So you can go all the way up to our highest level or right back down to level 0 where it's just a regular coasting. Now what regen braking is essentially, instead of your electric motor propelling you, it changes its function and draws that energy back in. So you have a 13.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion polymer battery. That's the capacity size. You can get some more, can you guys tell these videos are live? You can regain some of your charge back by regenerative braking. So it's essentially kinetic energy going right back into your battery, even if you're not plugging it in. I can, of course, show you guys a plug-in hybrid without talking about plugging it in too. So we have two fuel doors. The one on the driver's side is for gas. I'll have Adam quickly show it. Can't open it now because it's opened by a button inside the cabin. But the door on the passenger side is for your charge port. Now, with our plug-in hybrids, they only do AC charging, alternating current charging. What that means is this vehicle has an onboard converter inside that changes it to direct. Plug it in. This is a level 2 charger. It's a 240 volts, and it takes about 2 hours to fully charge your vehicle. If you don't want to install a home or level 2 charger, that's okay. The car does come with a level 1. That typically takes about overnight is what I like to call it. So about 10 to 11 hours depending on how low you got your battery. So you get home from work or from running errands, wake up the next day, and your vehicle has a full charge, and then however much gas you left in it too. Again, on a full charge, you have 51 kilometers of all-electric energy. And I know that may not sound like a lot, but how far is your commute? If it's more than that, that's okay. At least you get 51 of it on EV. The rest is done still on hybrid. So a lot of people think that when you run out of the electric range, are you just a straight gas car? Is it super inefficient like the regular Tucson? No, it's still a hybrid. It is still going to spend a good amount of time in EV mode, like if you're sitting in stop and go traffic or if you're slowing down, coasting. It's not going to run idle like a regular gas car. So it is still far more efficient. I hope that answers a little bit of questions, but of course we'll save some minutes for the end to go over any viewer questions. The interior of the Ultimate is where things get pretty dang fancy. You get quite a few comfort and, of course, luxurious upgrades. One being the addition of a power and memory driver's seat. So power seats isn't exclusive to this trim, but memory is. You get your two-way lumbar support, your backrest adjustment, and then of course the height and tilt of the lower portion of the seat. This is also your starting trim level for a powered passenger seat too. So up at the front, you get comfort both ways. The seats that we have here today are in our light gray finish. This is actually called a 3-tone interior. Let's see if we can find all the tones. Number one, we're definitely seeing the light gray. It's almost more of a beige in my opinion though. We have a little bit of fabric here. And then this upper portion probably looks black on camera, but it is a green. Green is so scary, especially when you see it in a brochure. People think, why would I ever want a green interior? Unless you're a green lover like me. This is so subtle. It is not crazy green. It is very classy. I do love a light interior because it really opens up the cabin. Let me know what you guys think. If you're not a fan of this, don't worry, it also comes in black. Along the door card, you'll notice we have our memory seat buttons, that multi-tone finish, a little bit of piano black along your window and mirror controls, express windows for both the driver and passenger, and then down at the bottom, we have our Bose 8-speaker premium sound system. Your door sills have Tucson badging. It's called the deluxe door sill. And then along our driver knee is where we'll have some quick controls for our electronic parking brake, our gas door release, fuel door release, I should say, traction control, our lift gate, and then a brightness adjustment. All of these buttons are backlit, so at nighttime you can easily see what you're actually pressing. The steering wheel. Now I can't actually tell if the steering wheel is green or black. That is just how close the green is to a black. But it's leather wrapped and it's heated with 2 different levels. It's extremely comfortable to drive with. I do like the spoke pattern and just the feel of the wheel. Feels very premium in my opinion. The back is where you'll find your paddle shifters, and like I said, they are dual purpose, so in sport mode they will change your gears, in eco mode and smart it will adjust the level of regen. Left hand side is where you'll find your driver controls. So we got our smart cruise control, which automatically goes to highway drive assist if you're on the highway, your distance adjustment, as well as your speed adjustment in the middle. Bottom right is where you'll turn on or off your lane following assist, and then this top right button changes the view on your digital gauge cluster. Now this trim has a fully digitized gauge, 12.3 inches of screen real estate, and what you can change is the center view. If you're not a fan of the themes of the gauge clusters though, that is okay. There is the option to change their color and slightly change their text. However, the location of everything will remain the same. Left-hand side, you can see we have our speedometer, and the right will be our tach. Because the car is currently plugged in, we'll keep getting that message of time to full charge. Disregard that, unless you want to know. We have about half a battery right now, so half charged, and we have an hour and a half remaining. On the right side is where we have our media and volume controls, and then our gear shift is located right on the steering column. It's a shift by wire, so as long as your foot's on the brake, you'll twist it or tip it into your select gear, and then press the P at the end for park once you're done. I mentioned this a bit earlier, but it's helpful to see it. This main screen here is 12.3 inches as well, slightly curved towards the driver and houses navigation. This again is your starting trim level for the nav system. Let's slide over to setup and then vehicle. Over here, we can go ahead and change things like our driver assistance functions and their sensitivity, as well as the warning volumes. Under drive mode, you can go ahead and create your own. So under my drive mode, this is essentially a custom. You can go set it to Eco, Sport, Smart, or even Baby, which essentially lessens the amount of torquey feel when at low speed maneuvers. What I mean by low speed maneuvers, if you haven't driven a PHEV already, when you are, let's say, coming out of your parking spot and you hit the gas, this car is very quick. So that torque is nearly instant. Versus a gas car where it's kind of gradual, it builds up. This helps control those sudden movements, so someone who's sitting in the back, like an infant, or maybe if it's your fur baby, it's a little bit less, a little bit more controlled. So that is a very helpful function on this vehicle. As far as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it is all wireless regardless of your trim level. So once you have your phone paired, hop right in and automatically will connect. No cord required. Your start or push to start ignition's here. Air vents, beautifully laid out horizontally across the dash, and as you can see, a slight touch of ambient lighting. The ambient lighting has 64 different color options, and you can also turn it off if you're not a fan. Also illuminates along the center console. Right below our air vents, you'll see we have our physical buttons and dials for media. You can jump to your home, your map, search function, and pretty much everything else does exactly as it says. This left knob will be for volume, and the right will be tune. Below that, we have our climate control. So again, buttons and dials, my favorite. Quickly adjust with a digital diagram in the center to show you exactly what temperature you've selected. And then everything in the center is going to be a haptic button, so a screen button. It does give you a slight beep to let you know when you have successfully changed something. Your heated seats and ventilated seats are also turned on from here, with 3 different levels between. Heated steering wheel is kind of in an odd place, being as it's on the passenger side of the climate controls, but that's okay. It's right over here, and 2 different levels, like I mentioned. Below that, we have 2 USB-Cs, data connectivity and charging, as well as simply charging. And in the very center, we'll have our drive and terrain modes. You'll press this down to select between drive and terrain, and then you'll use this mode toggle to change between either option. So for drive mode, we have Eco, Sport, or the customizable My Drive, and then terrain, snow, mud, and sand. You can only be in one or the other, so you can't be in a Eco mode that's also snow. It's either Eco mode or it's snow mode, or any of the other options. Auto hold is our brake function that holds you at a full stop till you hit the gas, and then this button will cycle between electric mode, automatic mode, or hybrid mode. Hybrid mode will of course prioritize using the gasoline engine with of course the supplementation from your electric motor and drawing on the battery a little bit. Electric mode will resort to using your electric range first and then go into regular hybrid operation. And automatic mode will largely let the car decide. Most of my driving spent in automatic mode, usually the car is prioritizing using electric, but if you are, high speed or high power demands like AC or heat, then you'll see more power come from the engine itself. With that being said, I always like to mention this in our plug-in hybrid videos. If you are driving in electric, so you have a full charge, driving to work, but you're absolutely flooring it to get on the highway, at a certain point, the vehicle will have to turn over the engine, and that is normal operation. You're asking a lot of power from the car, and it needs a little bit of extra help from its engine. That's okay. It might stay on for a minute or two just because once the engine does turn on, it'll have to complete a full fluid cycle, so it's going to run a little bit to make sure it's not suddenly shutting off mid-cycle. So just for longevity of the vehicle, it does have some safety built into it. It doesn't want to hurt itself. That's a good thing. All right, let's talk about what's underneath that. Wireless phone charger, 2 cup holders, and then our egg key. This key always looks massive on camera, but I promise you it is not too large in person and fits in girl pants pockets. You got your lock, your unlock, your remote start, as well as your panic button, and then on the side you'll notice we got a couple extra fun buttons that are exclusive to the Ultimate. You got your parking adjustment or remote smart park assist. Essentially, you can move your vehicle from the key fob. Let me know if you guys want a demo of that. And then on the back, it's just solid metal-like material. Adam, do you want to join me on the passenger side and we'll talk about the pano sunroof as well as the seat controls for the power passenger seat? So once Adam walks over, we'll take a look at the rest of the cabin layout just from another perspective. Now, again, this trim level is the starting trim for a power passenger seat. You got your multi-way adjustments for your backrest, and then of course the bottom of the seat. The seat material, I don't know if you guys got to see mine before I sat in it, we have a perforated leather, and in the light gray interior option, the entirety of the seat is that light gray leather with a little bit of metal accent on the upper seat back. Both seats again are heated and ventilated with 3 different options between the two. The top, you'll see our massive panoramic sunroof. The glass extends to about here, and then you can also have it tilted if you don't want the actual regular window open. The sunroof or the power cover is also automatic, so it can shut or stop at any point if you want half of the cabin illuminated while the other half is blocked off, let's say for your kids. There's a small shelf here that does have a little bit of light from the ambient lighting system, and then a regular glove box. Let's hop in the back seats, check out our space, and then we'll see what you guys have to say as far as questions go. Fuel tank capacity is 42 liters, so it's a smaller fuel tank, and you get just over 500 kilometers of range of gas only. From there, of course, you again have the 51 kilometers of electric range. So in total, you're probably looking at about 560 kilometers on a full tank plus a full charge. But of course, that will change, and the vehicle will give you proper estimates once you actually drive your vehicle. If you're largely efficient, you could see it do a little bit more. If you're inefficient, could be a little bit less. It's up to you. You decide. Now, these 2 main seats, your side seats, will be heated with the buttons to control it being located right above your power window controls. A moment for the door card, we have the same 2-tone or 3-tone materials that the driver has, so a very premium feel from the front to the back of this vehicle. The seats back here do recline as well, so if your rear passengers want a little bit more comfort, there's a lever on either side where they can adjust their seat to be positioned a little bit more relaxed or upright. And then they do move in a 60-40 split. Each seat will have your car seat tethers, and then in the very center, you have your cup holder and armrest, all in a very nice soft leather finish. From the back of our center console, you have your integrated air vents. You can't control the exact temperature of these vents here, but you can change the amount of airflow or even close them completely. And then you have the USB-Cs on the bottom for quicker device charging. Now the backings of the seat will have a mesh pocket and then a black plastic seat back, so easier to wipe down. I'm very grateful actually they didn't make this that light gray finish. I feel like the black is far more forgiving, especially if you have kids. Other than that though, that is largely the cabin and the interior portion of the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid, Plug-in Hybrid Ultimate. Now if you are opting for the regular hybrid, not the PHEV, everything's the same except for one button. Let me show you. I'm going to take the camera from Adam. The regular hybrid will not have this EV/HEV button. And there's one more thing I would like to show you, and that is our 360-degree camera. So if I would like to summon the camera on demand, if I'm not actively parking, all I have to do is press this camera view button, and it shows me the full 360 image. Now Adam's door is open, so that's why it looks a little funky. But once he closes it, you can see that looks more like what you'd expect. We got our red car over to the right, and there she is. So this camera that we see on the left-hand side, the larger one, is what's in front of us, because the last thing we did was move this vehicle in drive. If we were last or currently reversing, it would show us our backup camera instead. There's also this view, which is a full 360 and configurable view, so I can go ahead and drag it around and view exactly what's happening in the vehicle and the surroundings nearby. Pretty cool. There's a few things I want to touch on, just quick chat. Some of these things I can't necessarily show you because they are active safety functions that I can't replicate in the showroom here. One of which is our parking distance warning and parking collision avoidance for the rear. Now, if I were to throw this vehicle in reverse and someone were to walk behind me or a car were to drive behind me and I didn't notice it, the car will beep at me to warn me, but also apply brake force to avoid a rearwards collision. This is, again, meant for parking speeds, so if for whatever reason I'm reversing top speed in my vehicle, most people don't do that, This would not work for that, but it is for low speed situations. All right. How much does the Ultimate trim typically cost compared to the next trim down? And what are the added features worth the price difference? So technically, the Ultimate trim level can get confusing because you can either get it as a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Now, the plug-in hybrid is $5,500 more expensive than the regular hybrid, making it just over $53,000 Canadian. The trim level or trim line that is below is called the N line, and that takes on a more sporty appeal for styling. You'll get the suede seats, lots of red stitching, flashy accents on the exterior and the interior, but no PHEV option at all, and that vehicle is significantly less expensive. Let me actually grab the MSRP because I don't have it off the top of my head, and I can compare that for you guys. All right, so the N line is $43,799 compared to this one, which is $53,299. That is a pretty big price difference. Nearly $10,000, just under. So very big price difference, but you're also not getting the plug-in hybrid powertrain. And this specific trim level will also introduce you to things like the full 360-degree camera, integrated navigation, memory driver seat, power passenger seat, the ventilated seats up at the front, the leather interior instead of that leatherette with suede. So it's very much what your preferences are. I know there are a lot of people who would rather get the sporty accents and maybe just a regular powertrain, hybrid powertrain versus a PHEV. There's also some people who would really benefit from that electric range and want a couple more tech upgrades, and that's where the PHEV in the Ultimate trim is a great option. Now, me personally, I would love to see more trim variation for the PHEVs in the Hyundai lineup. I was just saying, I personally work for Kia, and the Kia Sportage, which is the sister car to this vehicle, uses the same engine, same entire powertrain, and is the same size, has 3 trim options, while this one only has 1 for a plug-in hybrid. Again, I would like to see more variation, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Have you decided on purchasing a Hyundai Tucson PHEV, or did you opt for something else because of the lack of trims? For some people I know, the luxury or the Ultimate is awesome. It has everything they want, so they don't need other options to look at. But for others, maybe not so much. We are at 32 minutes, so this has definitely been a longer video. I want to say thank you so much to Steven Stayrook for the super chat. That was so nice. I might remind you guys again, you don't have to do that, but we, of course, really appreciate it, and we appreciate every single one of you guys for watching. There is 78 people on right now. Those are 78 people who have their own lives, but they choose to spend 2 p.m. on a weekday with us. We really do love that. I'm glad we get to have these chats every single day. Couple questions earlier on. Gabi, will Charlotte appear in today in this video? So no, she's not appearing in this video. She was here earlier today to chat with me. We do have something very exciting happening next week. Charlotte and I will both be on a discussion panel for automotive news. We're talking about millennials and Gen Z in the car buying world, and they've asked us to be on that panel. I've never done public speaking before, so I'm terrified, but it is going to be pretty exciting. DTUK said 7 p.m. here. Jatin said it's 12 o'clock at night there. Oh my goodness, yeah, thank you guys. It's 2 p.m. here. I'm at work right now. This is my job. But thank you guys for spending your outside time with us. MG said, speaking of rear warning collision, I was exiting from the parking lot and there was a car waiting for me to exit. The car decided not to go back because of the other car. Yeah, so for some situations, I guess it can be a little bit annoying, especially maybe you're reversing in your own house and your partner is standing at the end of the driveway. They know you're there. You're not going to hit them, but maybe you want to. I don't know. But sometimes the car can freak out about that. If you do keep applying gas, you can override the command. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cough. There we go. All right, let's see. Any other questions? I don't really see too many. Ryan said, Gabi, come out to the track this weekend. I don't know about this weekend, but I do plan on going to TMP on Friday. So if you're going to be there Friday, Ryan, you might see me. And I think Michael from our dealership will also be there, and also Connor. So might be a Brantford Kia reunion. And then Ryan, actually, if you want to message me what day you're going, let me know. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you again on tomorrow's 2 p.m. live stream. In the meantime, take care and leave a like if you haven't already. Oh, and take care and brush your hair. That is the actual second part. Bye-bye, you guys.